my gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful queen bees. It is your girl Amanda, the bus artist. We are going to be making a witch's shoe, stockings, and the beginnings of a skirt. This is such a cute little tutorial, and it's just a great way to get yourself into the Halloween whimsical mood. So your next step is to download and print out the traceable in the size that you need for your canvas. Then you want to transpose it onto your canvas. There are so many easy ways to do this, and I'll include a video that goes into specifics on how to do that. Be sure to take a look at that in the PDF provided. And once you have your sketch onto your canvas, you are now ready to start inking. What we're going to do is do line work for our witch and then start to add in our colors. Let's take it away. We're going to pull out our Sharpie. Let's get to work. Now that our line work is all nicely cleaned up, we're going to start painting. First things first, we're going to take our 3/4 inch flat wash brush and we are going to set the background tone. So the background is, I'm thinking it's going to be like a nice lavender or purple. So what I'm going to do is going to take my brush and I'm going to wet it in some water. Then we're going to go ahead and make the color purple. And I'm just taking some red and blue. I'm going to mix it together. I'm going to shade, and then we're going to use our white to really lighten that part up. Really lighten it up. Okay, we are going to just go ahead and fill it in. So I'm going to use a lot of purple on the bottom here, and then it's just slowly going to taper off when it gets towards the top. And I'm not going to redip back into my brush going towards the top, so I just want to let that kind of go up a little bit. I'm going to try to drag as much paint off my brush as I can. And in fact, I'm going to take some white without actually cleaning my brush and just go ahead and do a little mix match. Of course, well, using water is always very helpful. But I'm just going to go utilize my white. And I like to go back and forth with the purple. Just go back in and add it in. But what this is going to help us do is set a contrast. And of course, I just want to go in with a second layer. Actually, that's a little too dark. So every time I put something together and it's just way too dark for me, white. White will help me. That's better. And then as it gets towards the top, I take off a little bit of pressure off my brush so that not a lot of paint is smearing on top. Just kind of let it glide. I'm going to go back in with some just white. Again, we always like to have our wet paint while we're still doing this because you're going to get a nice blend without really trying really hard for it. That's the beauty of painting. When you know how to get the tricks, use it. Again, I want to bias it more towards white than anything else. Well, I'm actually pretty happy with that. Next, while we're waiting for the background to dry, we're gonna work on our skirt. And our skirt is simply just black. So again, with using my 3/4 inch, this is just, it helps me cover a lot of area. I'm just gonna go ahead and dip it into black and then add it in. Now, I'm just gonna do kind of the bigger areas with the black here, and then I'm going to move on to a smaller brush to help me spread the paint out in the more smaller areas here. So I'm going to switch to my number 10 shader. And I'm just going to work very nice and slow. Again, when it comes to working with black, the wetter, the better, because it gives you that ink-like texture, and it helps you get these really nice crisp lines. So while I've laid that down, I want to go in now with, again, using this brush. I just gave it a nice quick rinse. I'm going to take some white. I'm going to try to get as much excess of the white off as possible. I don't want it to be too much. But now I'm going to go to where we've laid down the outline of each of the pleats and just paint them in using the white. I'm mainly just concentrating on the outline of each of the pleats here and bringing it upwards. So it kind of gives you the idea that these are pleats and they're running up. I'm using the tip of my brush for this part, just to kind of help me get that. But every now and then I'll use the broad side of my brush, mostly when it comes to the top portion of the pleat to make that outline. I'm going to go back in with my Sharpie now and just help to accentuate the tips of the lines here. I think some of these might get covered when we do the stockings. That's all right. I just wanted to put them in. Just so we can at least see it. Next, let's do her shoes. We're going to use the same shader brush. So I'm just giving it a quick rinse, dip it in some black, and then I'm just going to fill in the outline. Okay, next we're gonna go and fill in her stockings. So her stockings are a orange color. So I'm gonna go back to my number 10. I'm gonna go back and use my number 10 shader brush for this part. So I'm gonna get it nice and clean. And then we're gonna make the color orange. So that's gonna be red and a lot of yellow. That's always the secret to making the color orange. Orange is a very, it can be overwhelmed by the color red if you're not too careful. I always like to start with a little bit of red starting out, and then if I need to add more, I do. So I'm kind of liking this color. I'm just going to add some more white to it just to really pale it out. I really want to get that like super orange Halloween color going. So I'm happy with that, actually. So I'm going to start with our stocking. I'm going to start with the stripe right here. Just fill it in. And then we're going to alternate the stripes. So you're going to have some here. And I'm using water. I'm using water just to help me carry the paint out more, so I don't have to keep wasting a lot of pigment, which works in my favor. And I also want to color in her buckles because those are also orange. So I'm just going to remake the color so I got more to play with. I'm just going to paint them in. Easy peasy. And on the side as well. Again, water is going to be very helpful for you because you can carry your paint out and really make it work out for you. Okay, next I'm just gonna get my detail round brush nice and clean because now I'm going to make the outline of the socks using just black. So I'm just gonna dip in some black here. Paint in, just like so. Okay, that's going to repeat again on this side. And then you can always go in and paint that stripe. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space right here so I can go back in and add another bit of orange. There. While that's all drying up, I'm just going to go over here and do the same thing. Outline and then fill in. Again, I want to leave a little bit of space just so I can paint in my orange later on in the stocking. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit more on the skirt side, on how to differentiate from the stockings and the skirt, because I know that might be a question on your mind at the moment. We're going to be using white to help us with the highlight of that. And I'm going to go back in here and add in that orange, like I said before. This is still a little wet, so I don't want to quite touch it yet. And now I'm taking my detail round brush and I'm going to redo a little bit more of the details and clean it up, especially at the ends here. Okay, so now for my favorite part, the details. So I'm going to take my detail round, dip it in some white. So remember how I said we can differentiate the skirt from the actual leggings? So we're going to use that with white. So I'm going to go to the corners and just make an outline with my brush. It's pretty much that. nothing, you know, too crazy, but I'm just gonna take white and use that to my advantage here to create the outline of our skirt here. And we'll just add some a little bit of ups, just a little bit. Then we're gonna just add some accents to our boots as well.
And there you have it, your very own witch's shoes painting. I hope you had a lot of fun with this, and try to experiment with this even more. Try different colors, do different combinations. It's just so much fun to experiment with acrylic painting, and I hope you learned a lot. And what I would totally love is if you can leave me a review so that I can make more tutorials that you love. Thank you so much for taking this painting journey with me, and I'll see you for another painting soon.